under surveillance this morning, continuing trade negotiations.
What is the net impact on the Americans because of our trade with India? They have higher tariffs, higher non-tariff barriers. We run a massive trade deficit with them, so that hurts American workers, hurts American businesses. Then they use the money that they get from us when they sell us stuff to buy Russian oil. That's insane.
Here's the latest this morning. India's ambassador to Russia saying it will continue to buy oil wherever it gets the best deal, following President Trump's threatened penalties for buying Russian crude. The statement comes days before President Trump's 50% tariffs on India take effect on Wednesday. Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall joins us now for more. Good morning, Tyler.
Yeah, hey, John, good morning. Well, at this point, we haven't gotten any sort of indications from the White House that they're going to let up on that 50% tariff threat, as it appears that India is digging in its heels. And we know that that discount on Russian oil does help India secure energy supplies and keep domestic prices low, which are important to its growth, which is why our analysts at Bloomberg Economics say that when New Delhi does the risk-reward calculation here, there's no guarantee that the White House would give in any sort of trade concession. So at this point, they're going to keep importing those Russian energy supplies to both maintain its autonomy, but also to balance alliances here, which is something that we know India has been doing since the beginning of the Trump administration at this point. Also important to point out, though, John, that India has said that they're being unfairly singled out when it comes to these so-called secondary tariffs. We could point to how China, for example, is the top importer of Russian crude, though if you ask White House officials, they'll tell you that those negotiations are, of course, on a totally separate track. So at this point, they're not going to make that same sort of so-called secondary tariff threat. But you'll recall that this really is quite the reversal for India. This is a country that had long been prioritized in these trade talks, made concessions early and often was our understanding. But it does appear that there has been an impasse, particularly when it comes to U.S. agricultural products. And that stalled these trade talks well before President Trump ultimately made that secondary tariff threat of now raising these tariffs to 50% come Wednesday. John, I'll just quickly add that we did have some new reporting out from Bloomberg News this morning that India's embassy in Washington has hired a top lobbying firm with close connections to this White House in a bid to try to advance these talks. And we did see perhaps some indication of progress over the weekend by the fact that President Trump did nominate a U.S. ambassador to India. That position has been vacant since the Trump administration took office.
Tyler Kendall with the latest.